whatever you choose to write, it has to be something you're going to want to work on for the next 10 years. And if it's not something you're not going to get bored of for the next 10 years, it's not worth it, because that's how long it'll probably take to make. I want to say I probably pitched it in 2015. And at the time, I hadn't directed anything yet. And I couldn't get the pitch sold, basically. You know, I'd met with the producer and I don't know, I guess I was just green, like he wasn't able to sell it. And so I ended up going home, writing it on my own, and then getting the money to shoot Gina the Joneses. And so I shot Gina the Joneses, and I kind of put that script in the photograph in the drawer, and then got everything really quickly after that, shot that. And then I was like, okay, what about the photograph? Like, I think it's like the right time now. So the producer and I got back together with the script this time. And at that point of just being like, I guess, a little farther along in my career and you know, being a director at that point, we sent it to Universal and they picked it up, like they bought it like a few days later. So I wrote it in like 2015, sold it by 2018, and then we were in production a year later. So I don't know, in film, it's very much a hurry up and wait, and then, oh no, we don't want to buy it, and oh, can we buy it tomorrow? And then, no, we're not going to make it. Oh no, you're going to set tomorrow. And then it came out this year. So 5-year process. You know, I just always want them to look so saturated. So, you know, a lot of really fantastic lighting that takes a long time, and like, you know, that you get very particular about how someone's looking. Like with Issa, I wanted her to be glowing, and so we shot her very softly with those kind of lights. And with LaKeith, I kind of wanted him to be just a little in the shadows, but still be able to see, you know, the definition depth of his complexion. And then when you get to the color correction process in the DI, like that is just as important. And working with my colorist, Mitch Paulson, to like continue that process, because that's where you could, you know, not get great lighting while you're shooting because your DP doesn't have any respect for skin, and then you can get it and then go to color and they can flatten you out there too. I've had that in the past on my very first film, walking into a first pass of color on my film and literally just crying, looking at everybody's face, just washed out. So it takes a lot more work when it's a very dark scene. Sometimes you get to color and you have to put windows on people's faces and brighten them up a little bit if you can't see them, but making sure that the like integrity of their skin color remains. I don't think we can be seen as whole human beings if we're not allowed to experience the range of emotions and lives on camera. I mean, just like any other race, you know, we should be afforded what white lead women get to do in movies, whether it's something very serious, you know, that you're digging into, or something, you know, like being in Devil Wears Prada. You know, I think it's not about kind of making one more important than the other. It's making sure that there are different movies and different women and being represented within Blackness. Your editor is a big key to making your film, and you know, you work with them for months after, with you and them in a room. So, you know, Shannon's someone who understands storytelling. Probably one of the biggest contributions was, you know, us just sitting around and me saying, like, we really should start this in the past somehow, but how do we do that? And it was her idea, and she was like, what if we put some of the video at the top? And as soon as we did it, we were like, yes, you know. So things like that, when you have an editor who understands storytelling, is invaluable. It's a tough moment right now to like really focus, I think. I don't want to just say, you know, use this moment, but if you can, you know, it is this moment. I will say, I've told people, it reminds me of the time when there was a moment where I left LA, went back to Canada, and I was like living at my mom's for a year and a half in the middle of the countryside. And, you know, when I was there, I wrote The Weekend and I wrote The Photograph and I prepped to shoot the Gina the Joneses. And there was not a global pandemic going on. So emotionally, I was a little more stable, but it was the same atmosphere of this. It felt like I really was in the middle of nowhere and would just wake up every day, go for a jog, and write for the rest of the day. Writing like someone was paying me, even though nobody was, definitely helped me get to where I am right now and have some scripts piled up ready to go. So if you can get your mind focused and do whatever meditation and sound baths and yoga you can do to kind of weather this out, it is a good time to sit down and just like write.